Okay, we're back talking about vocabulary and context. If you have the handout for today's class, we're going to skip the first example and go to the second example first. It'll be a little clearer. All right, now I put a word in this sentence that I'm hoping you don't know. I chose it because I thought maybe you wouldn't know it. If you do know it, try to imagine that you don't and see how it goes. So this sentence says, my sister Kate shows a great abhorrence for crowds, whereas my little brother Michael loves to be at the center of attention. All right, now I'm hoping that you don't know the word abhorrence. But if I run into that word, I can look at the context, the other words around it, and make a guess about what it might mean. Okay? So here, what the sentence is saying, if I look at the whole sentence, is she feels a certain way about crowds, whereas my brother Michael is the opposite. He loves to be the center of attention. So what would be the opposite of the way Michael feels? How would Kate feel? She doesn't like the crowds, right? So she hates the crowds, maybe. She dislikes the crowds, maybe. She feels uncomfortable in crowds, maybe. So she feels negative about being in crowds. So if we make a guess about that word based on what the rest of the sentence says, rather than going to a dictionary and looking it up, if we just make a guess about it, then two things could happen. We can just make that guess and move on. Then if we thought about it, if we played, if we tried to come up with some other words that would fit there instead, like my sister Kate shows a great hatred for crowds, whereas my brother Michael loves to be the center of attention. My sister Kate shows a great dislike for crowds, whereas my little brother Michael loves to be the center of attention. My sister Kate shows a great negativity, maybe negative feelings for crowds, whereas my little brother loves the attention. So I made some guesses about what other words would fit there. Now, if I just move on and I stop there, I don't go look it up or anything, the next time I see that word in a sentence, this experience is going to be there in my long-term memory. I'm going to remember I saw this word before and I thought it meant hatred or dislike. And then I have a new sentence I see it in. It either makes sense in that new sentence or it doesn't. And it doesn't matter whether I guessed correctly or not before, because the fact that I guessed, that I played with it a little bit, caused the word and the experience of seeing that word to go into my long-term memory. Now it's there, and I can use it when I encounter the word again in another sentence. And I can confirm, oh yes, this is what I thought it meant. And it does seem to mean that. Or this is what I thought it meant, and that doesn't seem to fit here. It seems to mean more like this. But I have that experience of seeing the word before to build on as I see the word in this next sentence and the next time I see it and the next time I see it. That's the way we naturally learn vocabulary. Okay? All right, take a look at another example. Look at the last one on the page. 97 pairs is a superfluous number of shoes. Superfluous. So, what do you think? You think 97 pairs is an appropriate number of shoes? Does anybody need 97 pairs of shoes? Maybe. I don't know. No, probably not. So, what other words might fit there? 97 pairs is a ridiculous number of shoes. 97 pairs is way beyond what we need number of shoes, right? 97 pairs is an unnecessary number of shoes. So we could find some other words that we think make the sentence say the same thing, make some guesses that superfluous means unnecessary or ridiculous or many more than we need, right? 97 pairs of shoes is many more shoes than we need, right? So we make some guesses about what the word means, and then we move on. Oh, before I was saying, we could just move on. Or, after we've played with the word, we could go to a dictionary if we wanted to. But don't go straight to the dictionary. Don't do that first. First, we want to play around with the word, because we don't want the word to go here into our subconscious, into our short-term memory. We want the word to go here into our long-term memory, into our conscious memory, so that it's there and we remember having seen that word before and played with it the next time we see it. Later on in the semester, we have a lesson that shows us how that works. How when we see a sentence the first time, we make some guesses. Then when we see another sentence about it, we confirm or adjust what we thought it meant. The next time we see, we can confirm or adjust. And after seeing a word in 3 or 4 or 5 sentences, or hearing it 3 or 4 or 5 times, we come to quite a good definition of what the word means and the ability to use it without ever having gone to go look it up in a dictionary. Okay, now, sometimes we've got to use a dictionary. What if I'm reading a history textbook for a test tomorrow, and there's a term there that I've just got to know in order to understand what the heck I'm reading about? Maybe then I just go to a dictionary, I look it up if it helps. I'm not concerned at that moment with building my vocabulary. I'm just concerned with understanding this passage for the test. That may be justifiable. But in general, as we're trying to raise our reading level, we're trying to build our vocabulary, build the vocabulary that we have to work with, our conscious vocabulary, and going straight to a dictionary is not an effective way of doing that. Okay? All right, there's some other examples there that you can try. Let's see. I think we'll come back in another video. We'll look at a couple more examples. Okay? All right. Thanks.